Welcome to another episode of the AI-driven Swebbcast. The source content is all Swebb, but the interpretation and presentation is all AI. Swebb is a productive disruptor for leaders and teams in churches and marketplace organizations. His goal is to make you better first, make you a friend later. Swebb serves leaders and executive teams around the world, primarily focused on helping organizations maximize what they say they want to do. He drives you to execute on your expectations, even if it hurts your ego. He's not here to please everyone, nor does he seek validation. But if you're serious about elevating your leadership and team performance, you'll know where to find him. Connect with Swebb at swebb.fyi or on Instagram at swebbfyi.
All right, get ready, because today we're going deep into some real-time strategy. We've got a raw coaching call transcript between leadership consultant Swebb and a team getting ready for a big event.
Yeah.
We're going to be basically flies on the wall.
I love it.
During a crucial planning session. But here's the thing. We're extracting the gold, the transferable principles that you can apply to your own projects, no matter how big or small.
Yeah. That's the fun part, is finding those golden nuggets. And this one's rich with them.
Absolutely.
What's really interesting here is this team is completely volunteer-based.
Oh, wow.
Which adds a whole other layer of complexity to this.
Yeah, I bet.
We'll see how Swebb guides them through framing the challenge, getting everyone on the same page and turning inspiration into action, all on a budget of just pure enthusiasm, really.
Okay, so picture this. It's an annual conference. But this year, they're aiming for a huge leap forward in terms of impact and people attending. Last year was more exploratory, figuring things out. This year, it's about staking a claim, making a statement.
I love it. That shift from like expedition to expansion.
Yes.
That's where a lot of ventures, I think, stumble.
Yeah.
You've got to change the mindset.
Great.
Swebb really emphasizes this early on.
Okay.
It's not about learning anymore. It's about work. Roll up your sleeves. Let's get it done.
That must be a bit of a wake-up call for some volunteers who are used to a more casual pace.
Absolutely.
But to capture that Claimjumper energy that they're going for, the team starts brainstorming a central image.
Yes.
We're talking covered wagons.
Love it.
Flags being planted. Even the moon landing gets thrown out there.
Wow.
Why is that visual so crucial?
Well, I think it's because it gives everybody a target to aim at. Abstract goals are really hard to rally behind, but a powerful image, something that sticks in your mind, it becomes shorthand for the whole mission.
Makes sense.
And Swebb really pushes them, too, on using current stories of success, highlighting recent wins, not just past glories.
So it's like
people need to see impact they're making now.
It's like saying, look what we achieved together. Imagine what we can do this time.
Yes, exactly.
I'm guessing that leads to a discussion about how to actually reach these new people, the unclaimed territory, so to speak.
Yeah, and Swebb immediately pushes them on this. He's advocating for an evangelistic mindset, reaching OUT, not just nurturing those already on board.
Right.
There's a bit of debate about reclaiming what's rightfully belonging to the kingdom of heaven, which gets a little theological. But the core point, I think, is universal. What are you willing to fight for? Where do you want to plant your flag?
Ooh, I like that.
It's that assertive energy we all need sometimes. Not just wishing for things, but actually going after them. That claim-jumper mentality. Yeah. But then things take a sharp turn towards the practical. They start envisioning a series of short, punchy presentations. Minimal fluff, maximum impact. Almost like a TED Talk vibe.
Interesting.
They're very aware of attention spans. The goal is to punch people in the face with inspiration and direction. I love how Swebb doesn't try to soften it. He just lays out the reality. How do you cut through the noise and make your message stick?
So far so good. Big vision, clear communication, but then it gets a little wild.
I like where this is going.
The team starts spitballing ideas. Branded work gloves. Handing out Band-Aids for soul health.
Interesting.
And wait for it. A tattoo artist on site.
Hold on.
A tattoo artist.
It's out there. Yeah, that last one is obviously tongue-in-cheek. But it does reveal something important about their mindset. Swebb uses it to highlight the reality of pioneering. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, you've got to be all in. Those work gloves aren't just a cute metaphor. They represent that hard graft needed to make something new happen.
So how does our listener translate that into their world? We're not all launching conferences.
Well, think about it this way. What are the work gloves moments in your pursuits? What are those tasks that make you cringe the parts that feel less glamorous, but are absolutely essential to success. Being ready for those is what separates dreamers from doers.
Oh,
that's good.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
That's a good one.
That's a keeper.
That's a keeper.
Write that down, folks.
Yeah.
Work loves moments.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got this big vision, clear communication.
But then there's this willingness to embrace the mess, to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, and that sets the stage for what comes next.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
It gets really interesting in part 2.
Stay tuned, folks. Okay, so we've got the big picture. They're aiming for this TED Talk style event.
Right.
All about action and impact. But what will those talks actually be about?
Well, Swebb outlines 7 core principles of pioneering,
Okay.
which they're going to weave into these presentations.
Yeah.
And these kind of become a framework, a sort of mental map for navigating uncharted territory.
Thank you.
It all starts with preparation,
Okay.
emphasizing that enthusiasm is not enough.
Right.
You need resources, you need planning, and an awareness of those potential obstacles.
So not just showing up with a covered wagon and a dream then.
Exactly. He even uses the analogy of those Old West pioneers, right?
Yeah.
Harsh conditions, unpredictable terrain, you had to be ready.
You had to be prepared.
Yeah.
But I can see how that translates.
It's beyond just physical challenge.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Swebb ties it to the spiritual aspect as well. Being prepared for setbacks, opposition, moments where your resolve is tested.
Just like packing extra bandages for your spirit, right?
Exactly. And that's where that soul health Band-Aid comes in.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even with the best planning, you need support and resilience to keep going.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the next principle on this pioneering roadmap?
Teamwork.
Okay.
Swebb really hammers this home. This is not a solo mission.
Okay.
He uses the image of a wagon train, a group of people bound by a common goal, relying on each other.
Right.
He even talks about the multiplier effect,
Okay.
how each individual's contribution amplifies the impact of the whole.
So no lone wolf mentality allowed.
No, you need your posse.
But how do you translate that into action, especially with volunteers?
Yeah.
They're not exactly getting paid to play nice.
Well, that's where leadership comes in.
Swebb really encourages them to share stories of successful teamwork from their own experience.
Okay.
Highlight those moments where collaboration led to a breakthrough.
Gotcha.
Prove that unity isn't just a nice idea, it actually gets results.
Love it. So prep, teamwork.
Right.
What else is essential for claiming new territory?
Adaptability.
Right.
Swebb reminds them that things rarely go exactly to plan,
Right.
especially when you're pioneering something new. He actually references the series 1883.
Okay.
Those moments where the pioneers had to make really tough choices,
Yeah.
adjust their route, deal with the unexpected.
So flexibility is key. But isn't that a bit at odds with having a clear vision?
It's a great question, and it's something Swebb addresses directly.
Okay.
He links it to that spiritual aspect, talking about being sensitive to guidance, open to new directions, even when they're not what you initially expected.
It's almost like saying, trust the compass even if the terrain gets rough.
Yes, exactly.
But what about those times when you just want to QIT? Pioneering sounds exhausting.
Well, the next principle is all about perseverance.
Okay.
Swebb doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
There will be setbacks. There will be challenges.
Right.
There will be moments when you want to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
He talks about needing a relentless spirit,
Okay.
a refusal to give up on that mission.
Okay. So we're back to those work gloves again.
It is. It is. But where do you find that kind of grit when things get tough?
Right. Where does it come from?
Well, it's different for everyone, but Swebb encourages the team to share their stories of overcoming obstacles, right? Highlight those moments where they dug deep and persevered.
Okay.
Prove that resilience isn't some magical trait.
Right.
It's actually built through experience.
So grit is earned, not given. Love that. But let's be honest. Sometimes you need more than just willpower. You need to believe in something bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. That's where the next principle comes in.
Okay.
Faith and vision. Swebb reminds them they're not just building a conference.
Right.
They're expanding something much larger, something with a spiritual dimension. He talks about trusting in a power beyond your own, believing in the unseen potential.
So that planting the flag image becomes more than just physical territory.
It does. It becomes about claiming space for something you deeply believe in.
Okay. But how do you translate that for someone who's not necessarily religious?
Well, think of it as aligning your actions with your core values.
Okay.
What do you believe in so strongly that you're willing to fight for it?
Right.
To put in the work even when it's hard. That's where the energy and motivation will come from.
So faith in something bigger, whether it's a cause, a community, even your own potential.
Love it. What's next?
Boldness and courage.
Okay.
Swebb challenges the team to step outside those comfort zones.
Right.
Be willing to take some risks.
Right.
He talks about embracing that Claimjumper spirit, not letting fear hold you back. I like it.
He even encourages them to share stories of people who dared to do something different and achieved remarkable results.
It's like saying, what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail?
Exactly.
But boldness can backfire.
It can.
If it's not grounded in something solid.
Right, and that's why this principle is so intertwined with the previous ones, You need that strong foundation of preparation, teamwork, adaptability, and faith to truly be bold in a way that's both courageous and wise.
So it's not just recklessness.
No.
It's calculated risk-taking.
Exactly.
Fueled by a deep belief in what you're doing. I like it. What's the final principle?
Celebration and gratitude.
Okay.
Swebb reminds them that amidst all the challenges, it's absolutely crucial to acknowledge those wins, to appreciate the journey.
Right.
He talks about incorporating moments of celebration, moments of thanksgiving, recognizing that joy is a fuel source as well.
I bet that resonates with this volunteer team.
Oh, yeah.
They're giving their time and energy.
For sure.
A little appreciation goes a long way.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder for all of us, no matter what we're pursuing.
Yeah.
Don't forget to pause, reflect, and acknowledge how far you've come.
Right.
Gratitude fuels perseverance.
Okay. So we've got our 7 principles: preparation, teamwork, adaptability, perseverance, faith and vision, boldness and courage, and celebration and gratitude. It's a pretty solid roadmap for anyone trying to achieve something big.
It is. It is. And what's so brilliant is that Swebb doesn't just present these as abstract concepts.
Right.
He encourages the team to weave them into the actual content of their presentations.
So it's not just, hey, be prepared. It's sharing stories and examples that bring those principles to life.
Exactly.
That's how you make them stick. But how do they plan to turn all this inspiration into action?
Right.
That's the real challenge.
That's the real challenge. And that's where their focus on structure and flow really comes in. They're taking inspiration from successful events like TED Talks, understanding the power of a well-crafted experience.
So no death by PowerPoint allowed.
No, they want something much more dynamic.
Okay, so they're going for something more dynamic.
Much more. They're talking about starting with a really captivating opening video.
Okay.
Setting the tone, immersing people in that Claimjumper world.
So setting the scene.
Yes, setting the scene. Think powerful imagery, evocative music, maybe even a voiceover inspired by that gritty 1883 vibe.
Ooh, I like that. That's a great way to hook people in right from the start.
Right out of the gate. But then they've got to sustain that energy throughout the presentations.
Yeah. How do they plan to do that?
Well, they're planning to keep things short, punchy, and focused.
Okay.
Each speaker is going to have very limited time, and they'll use a mix of storytelling, biblical teaching, and practical applications to really drive those points home.
No rambling allowed.
No rambling allowed.
I'm still curious about those edgy ideas.
Oh, yeah.
They were thrown around.
Right.
Branded work gloves, the Band-Aids. Any update on the tattoo artist situation?
Well, the tattoo artist is probably a no-go.
Probably.
But the underlying principle remains.
Okay.
They want to create a memorable experience, something that stands out from that usual conference fare.
So it's about finding creative ways to reinforce the theme, to make it tangible, to give people something to talk about.
Exactly.
I can see the marketing potential there.
Oh, for sure. But even with the best visuals and presentations, how do they make sure people don't just leave feeling inspired, but actually do know something?
That's the $1 million question.
That's the $1 million question. That's where their call to action comes in. Remember that discussion about planting flags?
Yeah.
They're planning a moment where people can actually come forward, physically take a flag, representing the new initiative, write their names on it, and symbolically plant it as a sign of commitment.
Ooh, I like that. It's visual, it's symbolic, and it gets people actively involved.
Keeps them engaged. But a flag doesn't exactly translate to concrete action.
Right. What happens after that moment of inspiration?
That's where the strategic follow-up comes in.
Okay.
They'll outline the next steps, explain how to join the launch team, highlight those specific roles and responsibilities, and provide a really clear roadmap for how to actually get involved.
So no ambiguity, no leaving people hanging.
No, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Right. So it's a clear pathway from inspiration to action.
Yeah.
But how do they ensure that energy doesn't fizzle out after the event is over?
Well, they're planning to extend that call to action beyond the event itself.
Okay.
They'll share highlights during their regular gatherings, showcase testimonies from those who've already committed, and provide ongoing opportunities for people to jump in.
So it's a ripple effect, not just a one-time splash.
Exactly.
Right.
And they're not just relying on vibes and good intentions here.
Right.
They're setting a specific numerical goal for that launch team, the number of people they need to make this new venture a reality.
So accountability is built in from the start.
From the very beginning.
No hiding behind vague aspirations.
No.
Now, let's be honest. even with the best plans,
Sure,
sometimes things just happen.
of course.
Life throws those curveballs.
Oh, absolutely.
How do they address that?
Well, that's where that theme of embracing discomfort comes full circle.
Okay.
Remember those work gloves?
Yeah.
They become a symbol of the inevitable challenges.
Right.
Moments that will require grit and resilience.
So it's not just about being prepared for the expected.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset that can handle the unexpected as well.
Exactly. And Swebb doesn't just leave it there.
Okay.
He encourages the team to share their own stories of facing adversity, of those moments where they had to dig deep and push through.
It's like saying, look, it's going to get tough, but we've been there before.
We've been there.
And we came out stronger on the other side.
And we learned something along the way.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. It is. And it's a good reminder that sometimes those most valuable lessons come from the challenges, not the successes.
So embrace those work gloves moments.
Yes.
Because they're the ones that forge true resilience.
Absolutely.
What a brilliant way to tie everything together.
It is. It is.
But before we get too carried away with the inspirational metaphors,
Sure.
let's talk specifics.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks.
What are some of the practical elements they're incorporating to create this immersive, action-oriented experience?
Well, one key element is their strategic use of visuals. Remember that discussion about that opening video?
Yeah.
They're really leaning into that Claimjumper theme, using powerful imagery and evocative music to set the tone.
It's about creating an atmosphere,
Yeah.
drawing people in emotionally,
Exactly.
before they even hear the first word. I'm picturing something cinematic, almost like a movie trailer.
I think that's a great way to think about it. And they're not limiting themselves to just video either. They're talking about incorporating props, visual aids, maybe even short video clips throughout the presentations.
To break it up, keep people's attention.
Keep it fresh, keep it engaging.
Yeah, appeal to different learning styles.
Absolutely.
But I'm still hung up on those branded work gloves.
Okay.
Is that actually happening?
Well, whether or not they actually hand out work gloves, the underlying principle is so important.
Right.
They're looking for creative ways to reinforce the theme, to make it tangible, give people something to remember the experience by.
So it's about finding those little touches that make the event unique, create a sense of cohesion, and that spark conversation.
Our conversation, exactly.
I bet those work gloves would be a huge hit on social media.
Oh, I think so too.
But let's not get too distracted by the swag. How do they plan to bring everything together for a powerful finale?
Well, remember that call to action with the flag planting? That's going to be a key moment.
Okay.
They're going to invite all the attendees to come forward,
Right.
take a flag,
Right.
write their names on it,
Yeah.
and symbolically plant it as a sign of their commitment.
A beautiful visual representation of their dedication. A tangible act that solidifies their intention to be part of something bigger than themselves.
And it's not just about the symbolism either.
Right.
It's about creating a really clear pathway for action.
Okay.
Immediately after that, they're going to outline the next steps,
Right.
explain the process of how to actually join that launch team,
Okay.
highlight specific roles and responsibilities,
Got it.
provide a clear roadmap for how to get involved.
So no vague promises or ambiguous calls to action.
No, it's all about clear next steps.
It's about giving people concrete steps, tangible ways
Yes.
to translate their inspiration into action.
Precisely. And they're not limiting this call to action to just the event itself.
Okay.
They're planning to extend it to the entire community in the following weeks,
All right.
leveraging the momentum of the event to create a much wider ripple effect.
It's a brilliant strategy that balances the need for immediate action with the understanding that long-term success requires sustained effort and a broader base of support.
Exactly. They'll be showcasing highlights from the event, sharing testimonies from those who have committed, and providing those ongoing opportunities for others to get involved.
It's about keeping that energy alive, nurturing those initial commitments, and expanding their reach to draw more people into the mission.
Exactly. And it's not just about vibes either.
Right.
They're actually thinking long-term, not just about the event, but about building a sustainable movement.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's appreciate this team's commitment to creating an experience that's not only informative, but also deeply engaging and emotionally resonant.
I think that's a really important point, too. They're recognizing that true transformation requires more than just intellectual assent.
Right.
It requires that heart connection, a sense of belonging, and that deep-seated belief in the worthiness of the mission.
And they're really masterfully weaving together elements of storytelling, symbolism, ritual, and strategic planning.
I love that part. I love how they bring those things together. It's a really powerful reminder that effective leadership is not just about delivering information. It's about inspiring hearts, igniting passion, and empowering others to take action.
So with all of those pieces in place, I'm eager to hear how they pull it all off. Let's move on to the final part of this deep dive and see how this strategic plan unfolds in action. We've unpacked the vision, the strategy, the nuts and bolts of this event.
Right.
But there's one thread that keeps coming up in this coaching call.
Yeah.
And it's something Swebb really emphasizes.
Okay.
This willingness to embrace discomfort.
It's almost like a counterintuitive leadership principle.
Right.
We're so used to wanting to be comfortable to smooth out those rough edges.
Right.
But Swebb's arguing that real growth often happens outside of that comfort zone.
He uses those work gloves as a constant reminder.
Right.
Pioneering is messy. It requires getting your hands dirty,
Yeah.
both literally and metaphorically.
And it's not just about enduring hardship for the sake of it either.
Right.
It's about recognizing that the challenges themselves hold those valuable lessons.
Think about when you've learned the most. It's probably not when things are easy.
Probably not.
It's like that saying, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
I love that one.
Right.
That's a good one.
But how does Swebb help this volunteer team actually prepare for those work gloves moments?
Yeah, because
let's be honest, most people don't sign up for discomfort.
he encourages vulnerability.
Okay.
He has them share their own stories of facing adversity, those times when they wanted to quit but pushed through.
Okay.
By normalizing that struggle, it becomes less intimidating, more like a shared experience.
It's like saying, look, we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey.
It's part of the process.
And that could be incredibly empowering, especially
for a team like this.
For a team that's relying on passion.
Right, exactly.
More than paychecks.
And by sharing those stories,
they're
not just inspiring each other. They're creating a resource bank of resilience.
Oh, wow.
So that when someone inevitably hits a wall, they can remember, oh yeah, so-and-so went through something similar and they figured it out.
I can too.
I can too.
So discomfort becomes like a badge of honor. Almost that you're pushing boundaries.
Yeah, a sign of growth.
That you're truly in the arena. But let's zoom out for a second and connect this back to our listener.
Okay.
What are some takeaways for someone leading a team at work or even tackling a personal goal?
Well, I would say first, don't shy away from those tough conversations.
Okay.
You've got to create a space where challenges can be acknowledged, where struggles are seen as normal, not a sign of weakness.
Not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
And second,
share your work gloves moments.
Okay.
Not just your wins, but those times you messed up, you learned the hard way. That vulnerability builds trust, and it fosters that growth mindset.
Within the entire team.
Within the whole team, yeah.
It's like saying leadership isn't about being perfect.
Right.
It's about being real.
Yes.
And by modeling that, you give others permission to be real, too.
It gives them permission to be human.
Right.
Yeah.
But even with the best mindset, you still need a solid plan to channel all that energy into action.
And that's where the team's strategic approach really shines.
Okay.
Remember their discussion about setting a numerical goal for the launch team?
Yeah.
That specificity is crucial.
Okay.
It's not just, let's get a lot of people involved. It's, we need this many people, we need X number of families.
To make this work.
It's smart.
It's that clarity that transforms wishful thinking
into
a tangible target.
Yeah.
But how do they actually get people to sign on the dotted line, so to speak?
Well, they understand the power of momentum.
Okay.
That call to action with the flag planting.
Right.
It's not just symbolic. It's strategically timed to capitalize on the energy of the event.
Right.
People are fired up, they're feeling connected, and bam, they're given a clear, immediate way
to show your commitment. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Strike while the iron's hot, as they say.
Absolutely.
But then the real work begins.
Right.
Sustaining that momentum.
Yeah.
Could be really tough.
That's why they have that multi-phase approach.
Okay.
They're not just relying on the event itself.
Right.
They're going to be showcasing highlights during regular gatherings.
Right.
They're going to be sharing testimonies.
Okay.
Providing ongoing opportunities for involvement.
It's about weaving the new venture
Yes.
into the fabric of the existing community.
Exactly.
So it's not just this one-time burst of energy.
Right.
It becomes part of their DNA.
Yes. It becomes part of who they are.
But all this talk about expansion, claiming territory, it makes me wonder, what about the people who are already there?
Oh, that's a great point.
The existing members, the folks who've been holding things down.
Yeah, the OGs.
Right.
And that's something that Swebb brings up too.
Okay.
He reminds the team that growth can be unsettling, even for those who want it.
Right.
There's a risk of alienating the very people that you rely on.
So how do you navigate that tension?
Right.
How do you expand without leaving people behind?
It takes communication, transparency, and constant reassurance.
Okay.
Swebb advises the team to acknowledge the anxieties, to articulate how this expansion will benefit everybody, and to involve those existing members in the process right from the start.
So it's not just about recruiting new people.
Right.
It's about making sure everyone feels valued.
Yeah.
And part of the journey.
Part of the journey.
Whether they're planting the flag or holding down the fort back home.
Exactly. It requires that delicate balance of excitement for the future and appreciation for the present.
Yeah.
It's a tightrope walk, but it's essential for sustainable growth.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From Claimjumper metaphors to work gloves moments. We've extracted some really valuable insights
I think so,
from this raw coaching session.
What struck me the most is how much wisdom can be found in those messy, unfiltered moments of planning.
Yeah.
It's not just about those polished presentations. It's about the conversations, the debates, the shared struggles that shape a truly resilient team.
And remember, these principles aren't limited to launching conferences or even churches.
No, not at all.
Whether you're leading a team at work, tackling a creative project, or even pursuing a personal goal.
Yeah.
There's something here for everyone.
I really believe that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
I
want to leave you with this question. What's one Claimjumper action you can take this week to move closer to your goal?
Good question.
It doesn't have to be dramatic.
Right.
Just a step in the right direction.
Yeah, one small step.
A commitment to embracing that discomfort.
Yes.
And a willingness to claim the territory that's rightfully yours.
That's good stuff.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Are you going to do something with what you just heard? Or are you just trying to be entertained? Share this episode, then connect with Swebb. Bring him to your headquarters or visit him in Austin, Texas. You, doing all you said you'd do, that's what the church and the world needs.